Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Rental Store. Thank you for joining us on episode 343 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, here with Trevor. How's it going, Trevor?
Hey, pretty good. How is your morning going so far?
It's good. Okay, so this isn't your fault, Trevor, okay? But
continuing from last week. Okay.
Continuing from last week of things that are not your fault. So, you know, my ever-expanding vacation.
Yeah.
So I think if you guys have been listening, I booked a cruise last minute to, you know, on Disney Cruise Line. And then it was, you know, the cruise ends on Wednesday. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do for the rest of the week? Like, you know, I mean, and my wife has to work too. So that was the other thing. Because I was like, well, we'll stay in Florida. Maybe we'll go to the parks, you know, for a couple of days. And my wife's like, well, got to work. And I was like, okay, well, that kind of ruins it, right? So can't do anything. So I was like, well, I mean, we're going to be like an hour or so from Vero. Maybe we should just go to Vero and you can work from the beach. How's that sound? And she was like, yeah, that's awesome. And I was like, okay, let me go see if there's anything available. And lo and behold, I find a 2-bedroom available during the times we want to go. So now I'm staying at Vero after the cruise.
Of course.
Yeah.
So still not my fault. I didn't make you do any of this, by the way.
No, you just, it prompted a lot of things. And we're telling my daughter doesn't know yet still. She's going to find out tonight. So,
wicked. Okay.
Yeah, I know. We're very excited. So anyway, I don't want to waste any more time though on that. We can talk about that later or with our guests that we have today, because we have two special guests. One, Dani, who has been with us so many times. I don't even know how many times Dani's on the show. She's done the show a million times, but I was talking about DVC swaps, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, maybe last week. And funny enough, I was emailing with DVC Rental Store's swap representative about my own vacation. And then I had mentioned to Dani, I said, hey, Dani, we need somebody from swap to come on because I want to learn about swaps and I want to talk to everybody, the listeners about swaps. And sure enough, it's Ellie, the same person I emailed with briefly and was like, hey, I need to do this last minute thing. And she's like, you can't do this last minute thing. So, but we're going to get into it. So welcome to Dani and Ellie. Dani from DVC Resale Market and Ellie is from DVC Rental Store. So thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. It is great to be back, and I'm so excited to be here with Ellie so she can experience the fun and the magic.
The fun and the magic. I like that. Yeah, thank you for joining, Ellie, and thank you for being so nice over email for my unreasonable request.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
It sounds like it's not an abnormal thing, though, that people come to you trying to do this last minute, and it's not really a last minute thing that you do.
we do want to allow you time to rent your points and go through the rental process. So yeah, Disney Cruise Line has been running some great promotions and offers lately, but they are a little last minute for a swap.
That's understandable, but I think we still want to learn about it. But before we do that, we need to get to know. And Dani, I'm trying to remember the last time you were on. It's been a little while.
Yeah, a couple months.
Yeah, so let's get a little bit of your Disney background and your resale market background, and just your DVC cred, I guess.
Sure. Let me take you back many moons ago. So I guess my Disney background really started because I grew up in South Florida, and I've been coming to Disney since I was 3 years old. My family, that was our vacation every time we traveled. And so I ended up after college working on cruise ships. And I know you guys have had Marissa on before. That's where, Marissa and I met many moons ago. And then she brought me over to DVC. So I worked for DVC Direct for many years. I worked at Walt Disney World and also on Disney Cruise Line and loved that. And then met my husband over there. We decided to actually leave Disney and go travel the world for a year. And then Marissa brought me over to DVC Resale Market. So I've been here ever since and just, having a blast.
And we love having you on the show, Dani, and we love all the people that show up on this show. But there's a little part of us that also misses Marissa and Derek when they used to come back on our show.
They need to come back. They need to come back. very busy.
Marissa's so busy now. She's
Totally
like
fair.
she's like a big shot. Like, and we, early on we had Nick on the show. There's like, I mean, Nick is never going to come on this show again. So like,
and then Marissa went and had a baby just to add to the chaos. So yeah, she's a little busy, but maybe I can convince them.
Listen, and Dani, please, no, this does not take anything away from you being on the show. We love having you on the show.
No, they're
too.
Celebrities. Like,
it's just they were besides Nick, they were, it was Nick, and then it was Marissa and Derek that always used to come on. So and as they've expanded their world, we've had more of you guys on and got to meet more of you, and you guys are always delightful to have on. It's been so long since we've talked to Derek and Marissa.
We'll have to do a family reunion.
We have them,
maybe we can have them both come on. Maybe all of us can come on one time.
That would be amazing.
That would be fun and chaotic.
That would be like a 3-hour long show.
I don't care how long that show. It's funny because sometimes I'll say like, oh, we're running long on this episode, and Trevor has to remind me sometimes. It's like, well, we can do whatever we want. This is our show. We can make it as long as we want to.
There are no rules here.
You've given me a mission. I'm going to make this happen.
Oh, I love this. This is amazing. That has to be on video, Dani. That's
okay. That we will do on video, and we will have a big family reunion extravaganza.
I love it. We're gonna make this happen.
It might be in like 6 months because I need to have my people call their people and schedule it. But we'll make it happen.
A lot of people calling people.
Yes, there's a lot of people calling people. We got to get on calendars. It's tough, but it's just funny to me because where we started and how we got here. It's funny, but also I'd like Ellie, if you want to introduce yourself too, since you're new to our audience, and I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your background with the company and maybe some Disney background.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, my name is Ellie Fletcher. I am the swap program advisor at DVC Rental Store. I've been with DVC Rental Store now for over 5 years, and I've been the swap advisor for a little over 3 years now. I absolutely love it. My background, I am definitely a Disney kid. I come from a Disney family. We grew up vacationing to Orlando, and we still do. We love visiting the theme parks. When I was in college studying hospitality, I participated in the Disney College program, and I worked on the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and I absolutely loved it.
Wow.
I did that. Yeah, had a blast with that. After I graduated from college, I went more into the events side of the industry for a while. Then the pandemic hit, events went away. I was done with events, and I found DVC Rental Store, and I've been with them ever since. It's been great.
It feels like a common story with the Keyholder Vacation World of DVC crowd of I worked at Disney, pandemic happened, now I work here. It happened with a lot of you folks. I mean, listen, Disney's loss was obviously Keyholder Vacation's gain. So
it's been wonderful. Yeah, this is a great team. Yeah, everybody loves Disney. It's fantastic.
I think Ellie has one of the coolest jobs in our company too, because it's the part of the company that just opens the doors to so many different opportunities for our guests. And she gets to do so many fun things.
It is a really neat concept. Like when I was reading into it, I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, because this is not something you can really do through Disney itself, through DVC itself, right?
And Ellie launched the program. So that's why I call her like the swap ambassador or swap extraordinaire, because she really is, she's the knower of all things swap.
Well, why don't we start talking about swap then? So I'm sorry if I interrupted you there, Ellie, but
you're good.
Because it's we obviously are a DVC oriented podcast, and we're both DVC owners and have been for quite a while. And one of the things we tell people all the time is, listen, you don't want to use your points for a cruise. It's just not a good deal, right? Like you're using your points in an ineffective manner. Now, listen, lots of people want to do that, and that's totally cool. Like I'm not going to judge anyone for the way that they want to use their points, right? Like use your points how you want to use your points. Like that's at the end of the day, but you guys change the math on that because I mean, you do with the swaps, because because all of a sudden now it kind of is worth it to use your points for a cruise instead of but doing it through Disney is a whole different thing, because it's because of the exchange that's going on there. But I don't want to explain everything. I would love for Ellie to, but Trevor, I don't know if you were just going to say something.
No, I was just thinking when you were talking about, the math of converting points, like the math doesn't math when you do it with Disney, but it seems like the math is mathing when
the
you
math
guys are
very
doing
much math is math is math.
The math is mathing.
And I don't think people understand how big of a difference it is. Like,
it's huge.
I think that people think, oh, maybe it's like 5% off or something like that. But Ellie, dive in. Tell
us all about
good
it.
stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So traditionally, DVC members come to DVC Rental Store with their unused points, and we help them rent those points for cash. But we also offer the swap program, which is where members rent their points with us, and instead of taking that cash payout, they use their earnings from their rentals for new and exciting vacation opportunities. And we've really grown this program. We have so many different awesome offerings. I mean, you can swap for Disney Cruise Line, Universal Orlando Resort, Sandals and Beaches Resorts, Adventures by Disney, Royal Caribbean, Celebrity Cruises, even Disneyland Paris. So this is such a great value for our DVC members to take their points and explore all over the world with all these new exciting vacation opportunities.
Well, and a couple, I mean, I don't know if you have any examples, just like, off the bat. I know there's some on the website on a rental store of like the difference between using your points through DVC for a cruise and then using you guys to do it. Because it was pretty eye-opening to me when I looked at that and I saw the difference. I was like, whoa. Like that's huge.
We do have examples, shown on our site. And we can help you book any Disney cruise that you have your eye on. But yes, it's our point to dollar conversion. Disney's point to dollar conversion is vastly lower than ours. And all I'm saying by that is we will offer you a higher payout for your points than Disney will for you to swap directly with them. So it's a higher value for your points to rent with us. So because we're offering you that higher payout, it doesn't require as many points as it does to swap directly with Disney. So you get to keep a couple extra points in your pocket for your own use or, to rent for other items. But it's definitely a great value for sure.
Yeah, I just pulled up the site because I think the examples are really, and these are examples only, by the way, but the 5-night Bahama cruise from Fort Lauderdale on the Destiny with 2 adults, if you did it with points through Disney, it's 474 points. If you do it through you guys, it could be 241 points. It's a 233 point difference. Plus, you don't have to pay that $95 fee either, which is nice, and you can use resale contracts.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Like, that's huge.
A lot of people don't realize you're getting the exact same cruise, exact same stateroom. Everything's the same. It's not like you have to, go down a few staterooms or anything like that to be able to, see that savings. It's the same exact cruise, same stateroom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool. I would love to understand because I was talking about, how I had tried to do this and was emailing with you. And I probably should have realized that this was a process that, can take a little bit of time, but it's not really something that's for last minute cruises necessarily. This is more something you need a little bit of time to kind of work through, right?
Right. And I'll talk through the process a little bit. There is a way we can maybe do some more last minute cruises. Definitely if that's something, if you're more of a last minute planner, you can still participate. But let me just walk you through the process.
Please.
So first, DVC members will submit an inquiry on DVC Rental Store's website. If you go to our direct site, members can see all of our different swap offerings on different tabs on our site, and you can submit an inquiry form there. And then I like to start with the fun part, which is planning and securing your dream vacation. So you'll work with me to get that vacation booked. And once it's booked, we get you onboarded as a renting member with DVC Rental Store to start paying for your trip. You're paying for your trip by claiming listings and booking reservations for our guests using your DVC points. And as we've talked about, rather than those funds being paid out to you in cash, they're being held in a swap account for you to go towards that trip balance. The goal, obviously, is to have the points rented and the trip paid in full by your vacation's final payment date. And once it's paid in full, you're good to go. So there is a little bit of a rental process. We want to allow you plenty of time to go through that process of claiming listings and booking reservations for our guests. So we do like you to have, a couple months ideally to go through that rental process before your final payment is due to Disney Cruise Line or Universal or whatever it is you're booking. If you are more of a last minute planner though, that's still totally fine. Reach out to me and, we can still get you onboarded as a renting member on our site, and you can start renting your points first, and we'll hold your earnings in a swap account. Then whenever you see like we were talking about, if you see a last minute cruise that, hey, I want to book this right now, where it would need to be paid in full to Disney, that's no problem. We have your funds already held in your swap account, and we can apply them to that cruise booking too.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I just that just feels like a really easy process to do. And I've rented my points through you guys before, and it's such a easy process. And so, this just is like an additional, easy thing to do if you want to try to do something besides go to the parks. My daughter, part of why we're doing cruises now and doing Vero is my daughter kind of wanted a little bit of a break from the parks. We've been doing it, we do it a lot, and she just wanted to do something different. And so, the idea that I can still use my points, and I have a glut of points this year because we banked a lot from last year, and now I have a lot this year. And so it's also really helpful that you have more options to use your points for, and especially, it also, I feel like, makes resale contracts a little more valuable because you're restricted if you have a resale contract, to do a lot of the other things besides the Disney resorts if you have a resale contract, but that's not the case here. So I think that's really a really good option for a lot of resale folks as well.
Ellie, can you talk a little bit about if someone doesn't have enough points to cover the whole cruise?
Yes. So, yep, you maintain full control of your points when you're renting with Rental Store. You rent what you're comfortable with. And if, let's say, we get to that final payment date and you haven't rented enough points, if there's a remaining balance due on that cruise, that's no big deal at all. We would just have you pay the difference for that with a credit card at that point. So,
so that's a huge...
you have to rent all of your points to cover the entire balance. I have members come to me all the time and say, hey, Ellie, I'm just going to rent 100 points or 200 points, and then I'll pay the rest with a credit card. That's totally fine. That is totally fine.
It's a really nice way to just offset the costs of your cruises. So, you don't have to use all of your points for a cruise. If you want to just cover 2 people in the room, now you're not having to come to the table with as much cash.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice. You can do like mixed funding methods, essentially.
Right.
Yes. And another thing I want to mention too, a big benefit of participating in the swap program is that members, when you participate in our swap program, you are not issued a 1099 tax form for your rental income, as those points are being swapped directly for your vacation. Oh. So I listened to your last podcast, and I heard you talking about this trip and talking about, well, can't I rent points and take the cash and go book this cruise on my own? You can do that, but if you take your payout via cash, you would be issued a 1099 tax form for your rental income. Versus if you participate in our swap program, you don't get that 1099 tax form. So additional savings as well when you participate.
I know where Trevor, I know where you're about to go. I was going to ask the question if you weren't. So go ahead, Trevor.
I was waiting for the right moment. So I don't think we actually covered this up front. I'm actually in Canada. I'm international, traveling to Disney and all that. And for renting points, I was aware of this. When we've looked at renting out our points in the past, is that there's those tax forms, but then also we have to go through a few extra hoops with getting tax exemptions as international guests. With this plan, or with this program rather, does any of that come into play, or does it not really matter for people that are, international DVC owners?
If you are an international DVC member, we can still absolutely work with you. Yes.
Awesome.
So in that case, you do not need, you're referring to, you would need an ITIN, you would need these additional items if you are going to rent for cash as an international member. But when you participate in our swap program, yes, because we're not paying those funds out to you in cash, you do not need that additional tax information. So you would not need that because you would not be issued a 1099 tax form.
Nice.
You see, that is far more appealing to me.
I told you, Ellie has the coolest job.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You get to hand everybody all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
Well, because Trevor, you were even maybe thinking about going to one of the Asian parks next year, right? Like, so you could even think about. I don't know if you guys are doing any of the Asian parks or anything like that, but I know Trevor, you were looking maybe Tokyo next year, and if that's the case, if you guys will do that, I mean, might be a good option for you.
Well, we don't offer any of those parks. The only international, international park I offer is Disneyland Paris.
Bummer.
I'm guessing it's because of how the parks are structured, that because Paris is under like the larger umbrella of Disney now, so it's a little bit easier to deal with them versus like Tokyo is technically separate.
Yes.
So, yes.
But hey, that's good for you to know, Trevor, because like I know you if you're not planning to travel, I mean you could possibly do a swap of some sort too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean I'll admit. So just to give context for me in the past there was one year where we had it was 20 points or something that we couldn't use, and I was looking to rent them out, but unfortunately I hadn't done any of the paperwork for getting all the tax stuff done for like you said, all the stuff we have to fill out. Yeah. And it honestly wasn't worth the effort for the 20 points to go through all that. Right.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah. But if this is an option, because I assume even if I had 20 points, I'm sure I could use that towards something, like you said, it could just help offset the cost of park tickets or something like that. Okay. Yeah.
Wanted a hotel stay. Yep. Park tickets. A last minute Disney cruise. Absolutely. Yeah. Those
awesome.
Funds go towards that. That's no problem.
Yeah. This is why we wanted to have you on, Ellie, because this, I think, and to Dani's point, what you guys are doing with this program is very cool. And I hope this doesn't sound to listeners like we're just pumping up the sponsor. I legitimately think this is cool. And
yes.
When I saw this, I was like, this is an awesome option for my points. And I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to do it, but because I was doing things so last minute, it was a little hectic, and I was just like, I don't have time for this. I'll do it next time, maybe when I actually plan ahead and don't, just book a cruise a month out. But yeah.
One thing I love about our company is, and especially, coming from Disney and then coming to a much smaller company, is we're so innovative and creative. And this is part of the company that is just so creative, and we're always looking for new ways to offer more options to our guests. So if there are any other vacation opportunities that you guys are interested, that the listeners are interested in, just let Ellie know, because we hear you, and we'll do everything that we can to try to make it work and try to, add new offerings as well.
Yeah, we're always looking to expand this program. So absolutely.
Can I put Tokyo on the ask list?
Trevor's going to say, put Tokyo on that list.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, work on Tokyo, Ellie. Let's get that. You got some time. Trevor doesn't want to go till next year, so you got time to figure it out.
We may not even be next year. We're looking at some options. Yeah.
Well, this has been great. So, Ellie, if somebody is interested in learning more about this or wants to find out what their options are, best way to find that out.
Yes, you can check out our website, dvcrentalstore.com, or you're welcome to send me a direct email. My email address is Ellie, ELLIE, at dvcrentalstore.com.
I love how simple all the email addresses are at the over there at Keyholder Vacations. You guys are just first name, place you work. I love it.
I'm an IT guy, so I do appreciate that from a structure standpoint.
Simplicity,
just saying. Yeah.
We're a small company, so we could do that.
You can do that.
If you're direct with Disney, you need the first, middle initial and last name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Ellie, hang around while we're going to talk some DVC here too. But we really, really appreciate that you came on the show to talk about the swap program, because I think, like I said, I think it's really cool, and I hope some of our listeners reach out to use some of their unused points for something different. Maybe they want to go check out Epic Universe or something. There's all sorts of things you can do, and that's what's really cool about it. So
absolutely, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah. Hang out here. Talk DVC with us. So,
and for our listeners make sure if you reach out to Ellie, let her know that you heard her talking on the show, and
Yeah, because I think you guys enjoy that when you after your appearances, you usually get all sorts of weird questions from our listeners. So.
1,000%, but also like you become a VIP.
That's true.
When we know where you came from, we're like your family. I mean, we treat all of our guests wonderfully, but I mean, it's so cool when you're, chatting with someone on the phone and then you know where they came from, and you become friends right away.
I totally agree with that. I mean, listen, Trevor and I still think it's weird that anyone listens to us talk about this ever. So it's funny to us when that drives anyone to talk to you guys too. So.
It's a crazy concept. Sometimes I'll be talking to people over the phone and they're like, I know your voice.
Why do I know your voice? I've heard it over my radio. Oh, wait, dude, I know who you are.
Cool
That's
concept.
funny. Well, Dani, tell us what's going on in the resale market. I know we just got out of the second month of the year, and I feel like the reverberation of the fee, the resale fee, is still kind of you're trying to work itself out, right? Like I don't really know what kind of impact that's having so far, but where are we at right now? Are we buyer's market, seller's market? What kind of trends are we looking at?
So you know what? To be very honest, I thought that the fee was going to be really polarizing, especially because at the end of last year, when the fee was announced, everybody was like, I got to get in before the fee. I got to get in before the fee. So I was just kind of like bracing myself for the new year. And, I thought that was really going to deter a lot of people, but I think we've just kind of accepted that things change with Disney and things change with DVC, and that's just how it is, and there's not much we can do about it. So I think buyers are just getting savvy and they're saying, okay, I have this $500 fee, let me just change my offer up a bit to kind of compensate for that difference, and everybody's happy. Sellers happy, buyers happy. So I really haven't felt it very much at all, actually. Just more buyers getting a little bit more creative with their offers. We're in a seller's market, but it's such an interesting seller's market because none of the prices have changed. Usually, if you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, you see huge dips or, increases in prices, but prices just across the board have been super steady. I will say we're in a seller's market because inventory is super low. So if you are a seller, the good thing is your contract's probably going to sell a lot faster than it normally would have. But yeah, prices are pretty steady across the board, I've seen.
Interesting.
So to that end is, I do browse, I read like subreddits and stuff about DVC resale. And so my anecdotal experience is that it seems like, part of that is ROFR seems to be going through relatively quickly for people, or at least what I've been seeing. Are you seeing that as well? That like they're not, like ROFR's not taking a long time because of this?
Oh my gosh. Well, the end of last year, I was seeing some in like 4 days. I was like clearing my eyes. How is this even happening? Or I'd get, a message from a buyer like, I just passed ROFR. Is this a mistake? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me check. Maybe it is a mistake, but it wasn't. Now we're looking closer to like 15 to 18 days, which is still a lot faster than normal. So, you never know with Disney, that could change tomorrow. But I would say for the past few months, it's been pretty quick, which is lovely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting, I know it doesn't affect necessarily the buying or selling market, but I feel like
experience for sure.
Yeah. ROFR is like, if you're selling, like there's that anxiety of like, am I going to sell it quickly? And then on the flip side, the buyer going like, is my proposal going to get approved? Right. Like it does affect both of them, even though, like you said, it's kind of up to Disney at the end of the day. But it's an interesting thing that I'm always looking at that in relation to like how the market seems to be moving too.
Absolutely. Actually, one thing about ROFR that I would love to talk about, just because I feel like I've been getting this question a lot from sellers, just so you know, if you're a seller and you're selling on DVC Resale Market, you really don't have to worry about ROFR. I've been getting a lot of, what if Disney buys the contract back? How does that affect me? As the seller, it doesn't impact you either way. So when the contract goes through ROFR, if Disney does decide to buy it back, you're just going to get essentially paid out by Disney instead of the buyer, but they are going to pay you whatever the agreed upon offer is. So really the only person that that ROFR affects is going to be the buyer.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting that, like, it's not that ROFR stops the sale. It's just Disney takes over the sale.
Right.
Someone else is buying
it stops it for the buyer. And then, as a buyer, this is another question we get asked a lot, like, what's going to happen to my escrow deposit? Your escrow deposit gets fully refunded, or a lot of people will just find another contract. I always tell people when you're going through ROFR, have a list, especially if you're really close to the ROFR numbers, have a list of contracts ready to go so that as soon as we find out if your contract passed or didn't, if it doesn't, you have some options that we could just move on really quickly and then just apply your escrow deposit toward the new contract. So super easy. But if you don't happen to find another contract right away, the escrow deposit's fully refunded to you.
I realized we started in that whole conversation of ROFR, and I should have actually, like, we have a lot of new listeners, and I should have quantified this up front. ROFR, we're talking about right of first refusal, which is part of all of our DVC contracts for anyone that is listening to this, because, we're all saying ROFR, and this goes in like with all the other Disney acronyms that all of us who
just
talk about Disney,
and don't think about it.
But I forget sometimes that we do have new listeners, and we should be helping navigate that.
Yeah, you want to talk about maybe what right of first refusal is a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Tell us all about
it.
Yeah. So basically, right of first refusal is, let's say you're looking at a contract and you put in a crazy offer. You just want to see if the seller bites. And the seller's like, you know what? I think that's a pretty good deal. I'm getting more than I paid for it. I kind of want to sell quickly. Yeah, let's go ahead and accept that offer. That's great. That's the first step. The second step is letting Disney let you, or having Disney let you buy it back at that price. So basically what they do is if they feel that the price is too low, or for whatever reason, Disney has their reasonings, they'll say, you know what, that price is too low. We're not going to let you purchase that. We're going to buy it back at that price. And so the first obstacle is the seller going to accept my offer? But the second is Disney going to let that pass? And so one thing that our company does that I think is really, really cool is we're all about education. We want our buyers and our sellers to be super educated when, buying or selling. And so we have reports on our site that we post every single month, and you can look at all of the ROFR buybacks. And so when you're making an offer, look at that report, because you could strategically make your offer around that report. I really love ROFR, and I think a lot of members do. ROFR kind of stinks when you're a buyer because you have to worry about Disney buying back. But I feel like it's the one thing that really sets DVC apart from kind of every other timeshare out there. If you were to own another timeshare and you need to sell it, a lot of them, you basically have to pay someone to buy it back from you, so that you don't have to pay the annual dues anymore. But with DVC, because of ROFR, because Disney doesn't let contracts sell for crazy, crazy low, it keeps the market where it is, and it helps your contract retain its value. So I think that it's actually a huge perk to being a DVC member is having ROFR, but it is definitely something you want to be conscious of when you're putting an offer in.
Yeah, I mean, that really helps, Dani, with I kind of knew a lot of this, but thank you for explaining this for our listeners, because there's a lot to ROFR, and it's it's something, like you said, it exists in the background that is there to help keep our contracts of value. So I think it's good that people know what it is. Now, I would, I know, Tom, we had a few other questions on the rundown here, but I think I kind of want to jump to this one. And this is actually, we have a part of our show that we like to call reckless speculation. Tom, you don't have to play the
you don't want me to play the song? Okay,
you can if you want.
No, it's okay. I won't suggest any to the song.
Yeah. This is actually for both Dani and Ellie, because we like to have fun conversations about these things. So the actual question was, when do you think DVC will announce another new resort? But then I also have a follow-up to that is, what kind of resort do you think
and
DVC would, or like, yeah, what do you think would be the next DVC resort?
Yeah. Where is it? What is it themed to? Like, yeah, because we asked Carrie this too.
Yeah.
I want a ski resort.
Oh, so you don't even want. Wait.
Right.
Do you, okay, hold on. Do you want an actual real life?
Like
I want an actual real life,
okay,
very themed ski resort,
but not at Disney World. At an actual like mountain place,
like a Denver
skiing.
something.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm also spoiled because I live here, so I'm like, you know, you always want what you don't have.
Yeah,
and I don't have snow. And I want snow.
Trevor's got plenty. He can loan you some.
Yeah, you can come have some of ours. I live next to the Rocky Mountains, so we have snow all the time.
but you don't have Disney snow.
True.
Which, like, yes. I can only imagine would be 10 times better. And you know, it's like Disney ruins you because when you travel, as you guys know, like I travel a ton and I love to travel. But when you have done Disney your whole life, no resorts compare. I mean, you just have the highest level of expectations when you're traveling. And so I want a ski resort, but with Disney standards. I
like that. I that is not the answer we expected because we were thinking.
I like to throw you guys off.
That's what we like here. This is your answer, not ours. So that's why we like it. But Ellie, let's hear what your ideal next resort would be.
I haven't really thought about that. That's interesting. I don't know. Like, I think one of my favorite places to travel is like just anywhere in the Mediterranean. So I'm almost thinking like maybe kind of a spinoff Riviera, like another Mediterranean style, kind of like Amalfi Coast kind of vibe. I don't know where that would go. I mean, I wish it could be near EPCOT just because I love that location.
we all want a new EPCOT resort.
Yeah, we all want that. Yeah.
We want an EPCOT resort with a really long deed.
Yeah, there you go. See, what I want is them to go go back into the Disney Imagineer archives and pull out the plans for Westcott. Which, if you're familiar with Westcott was going to be the West Coast EPCOT, and they were going to have hotels in the World Showcase where you could just like in the middle of the night, like pop out into the World Showcase and walk around, and you could like stay in different countries in the World Showcase. And I'm like, do that. I want to do that.
Every little kid's dream to just, you know, be able to go to a park after hours or like, you know, you hide out so that security doesn't find you. The park closes and then you have the whole park to yourself. Like, you could do a spin on that.
Who wouldn't want to do that? Right?
That's actually a dream.
I love it.
Yeah, listen, when the Westcott plans were going to be so cool, and then they just didn't do it. And it's like, how cool would it be to stay in the World Showcase? And, you know, one night I'm staying in Morocco in a Moroccan themed hotel, and the next one I'm staying in a Mexican themed hotel. You know, like that'd be so cool.
That would be so cool.
That would be.
Yeah, but you know they're not going to do that.
Who do we need to call?
Well, you know, Trevor and I think that Josh listens to the show, so you know,
that's our current running joke. Is Josh must be listening to us, and that's fueling his decisions. Clearly,
yeah, all his decisions at the Walt Disney Company as the new CEO are fueled by the things he hears on the show. So, so Dani, is there anything else you want to mention about DVC right now, or anything else you want the listeners to know, or anything we didn't talk about that we should have talked about?
Oh goodness. I don't think so. We just finished Red Hot Deals. There are still some contracts that were on Red Hot Deals that are now labeled as certified hot price
so listings. They're now lukewarm deals. They're now lukewarm yeah, they're orange
not
hot deals.
They're still we kept them on the site and kept them like kind of labeled differently so that you can tell which they are. Obviously it's not part of this huge, you know, marketing advertisement for this big promotion, but you know, if you missed Red Hot Deals or maybe you dragged your feet a little bit too long, just go to the listings and sort for certified hot price listings, because there's still some really good ones.
And you guys are, I mean, I was reading in the blog, and you have a fairly historically low inventory right now. So like now's the time to, you know, to really sell. You guys are looking for contracts.
We would love your contracts. We would love them. It's funny. Some people, you know, will call me and be like, it looks like there's a lot of other listings. You know, I'm seeing like a seller, I'm seeing 13 other listings in the resort that I'm selling. I'm like, 13 is nothing. We usually have like 85 for that. that resort.
Yeah. You don't understand how big these resorts are.
Yeah. How many contracts there are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we sell like $5 to sometimes $9 million worth of DVC contracts every month. So yeah, 13 is nothing.
It's nothing.
Yeah, we could use your contracts. So give us a call.
All right.
And,
well, Dani, how do people reach you? Sorry. Trevor.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Dani, give us your contact info, and then Ellie will ask the same set of questions to you.
Yeah. So put me on speed dial. The easiest way to reach me is actually text message. My number is 954-257-2425. If you didn't have your pen out yet, it is 954-257-2425. That's the fastest way to reach me. I have my phone in my hand kind of at all times. And then you could also email me at Dani, Dani, at DVCResaleMarket.com.
So you want to talk about feeling like a VIP? You have Dani's
Direct
phone
access.
number.
Yeah. A lot of my clients have me on speed dial. So, and don't worry about the timing. I have clients, in other countries on the West Coast. You're not going to wake me. If you message me at midnight, I'm probably sleeping. I'll just answer you in the morning. So don't worry. Any questions that pop into your head, just shoot them over and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can.
And Ellie, I think you mentioned already where we can find you, right?
Yes, my email, Ellie, ELLIE at DVCRentalStore.com. Or if you want to give me a call, my office number is 317-296-7379.
Well, listen, It's been a pleasure having you guys. Go ahead, Trevor. Sorry.
I was just going to ask Ellie, we talked about a lot of stuff with Rental Store and the point swap. Is there anything else that you want to mention that we didn't talk about?
Oh, yeah.
No, I think we hit everything. No, I think we're
awesome.
Good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Any other questions? Your fans can reach out.
I know I certainly will be. I really appreciate you guys coming on today, and we'll obviously, it was good to talk to you again, Dani. It's been a little bit, so it was great to have you back on again. And of course, we're making we want to make sure have you guys on more often. We like having you on, so thank you for joining us. Seriously,
thank you so much for having us, guys.
This was so fun.
So it was great having Dani back on, and also meeting Ellie too. Dani has such great energy, and like she's just so fun, and she gets what we do here, and that's like always it's hard. We've talked about this before, where Trevor and I like having guests, but not everybody gets the vibe of what we're going for here, and we found a really nice group at Keyholder Vacations that kind of gets what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean it's the difference between there's podcasts that are like it's treated like a radio talk show or like very formal, right? And the thing is that that's not us. We're far more casual, and we've had we've had guests come on where they've been thinking that they have to be like very professional perfect. and perfect, and we're like we said, we're not. That's not us. That's not what the show is. The show is meant to be casual. And yeah, it's nice when when people get the vibe right away and relax. Like you can tell when people relax on the show versus when they don't.
Oh, for sure. 100%. And that's why, we always listen, we'll have anybody come on the show, but you can always kind of tell when someone is vibing with what we're doing, and someone who isn't. So
and I guess that's the first thing, if anybody listening, if you end up on the show by some crazy circumstances, we say this up front, just relax. It's like we're sitting around having, a conversation around the kitchen table. It's not meant to be. We're not that serious.
No, we're very much not.
Yeah.
But that being said, go ahead.
I was just going to say the other thing too is, very, very happy to meet Ellie and, really like the stuff that she's doing. Like we said, it's, a lot of great info there and a lot of things that, like even for myself, I said, at that one part that we, as an international traveler, those options that she's presenting are very appealing to me because it saves me jumping through a lot of the hoops that as an international DVC owner we do have extra steps at certain points. So that's nice. I'm really excited that they're able to offer that.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. You don't have to do the tax form part because you're not really you're not getting the cash from it. It's sitting in like an account that is going to be used for something else. So it's kind of almost like a loophole. But,
I don't want to, let's not say it's a loophole because then Disney might say something about it.
Well, it's actually interesting you say that, Trevor, because I wanted to bring something up, and I meant to bring it up when Dani was here, but I forgot. But, I was talking about the Vero Beach thing, and first of all, I was able to book a 2-bedroom pretty last minute, which I was surprised by, especially considering it's during spring break, which is, a busy time. It's now given it's a very high point value time, right? So the points are a lot more, and I would probably spending, like 30 points more than I would like the week after, like literally the week after they go down by quite a bit. So, and we know that most DVC members try to avoid the times where the points are higher. So, and which makes sense, but and probably also want to try to avoid Florida during spring break too. But yeah, so like one of the things that was interesting is, and I don't know if you've ever done this before, Trevor, but because of the way I had to book this, they didn't have the first night I needed, the night that we get off the cruise. They didn't have that available, right? They just had the next 2 nights of that week. And so I just booked those, and I thought to myself, okay, well, I'll get the other night, right? I just got to try, keep looking. And sure enough, I just had a tab open, in my browser, and I just had the website open. I literally just hit refresh every like 15 minutes. And sure enough, one of them popped up and I got it. But now I got 2 separate reservations, which is not a problem. I've done it before. You talk to member services, they will merge the 2 together. Really, they're not merging the 2 together. They're basically canceling them and doing a new one, with that's just for the right amount of time. And I've done this many, many times, right? Really, I probably every DVC stay I've ever done has been one where I had to
together reservations.
Yes, because I usually cannot get the whole thing because I don't schedule, we don't book as far ahead as we usually should. And so I end up a lot of times with, doing things kind of last minute. And that ends up with these broken up reservations. And this time when I did it, and it's been a while since I've done it, so I'm sure everyone out here, this is not maybe necessarily a recent thing, but it's been a little while. But I was on the chat with the advisor, and she said, please confirm that you are adhering to the terms and conditions of Disney Vacation Club, and that this is for personal use only.
Yes.
And I was like, that's a new question that I'm being asked.
I have seen this too when I've done stuff, and I'm pretty sure this is related to, they changed some of the rules around. So there are companies out there that seem to operate in, they own a bunch of, so the reason they're saying for personal use is that, and actually I think we should clarify this because, I'm sure a lot of people are drawing lines with like Rental Store is like one of these companies that is like renting out DVC to people and, making money off of it. They're an intermediary, which is different than a company owning a bunch of contracts and renting those contracts out.
That's a business.
The reason that they're making those statements now about personal use is Disney seems to be going after those companies that, it's not an individual that owns their contract and they're renting it out. And by the way, that is still totally valid. Like that,
that's allowed. Yeah.
Like, when we were talking with our advisor, when we got our first DVC contract, that was one of the things up front. He was like, yeah, you can rent your points out. Like they were very upfront about that from Disney's point of view, is that they don't have a problem with you renting the points. What they have a problem with is these companies that, or somebody figured out there was like a gray market of like, hey, you buy up a bunch of contracts as a company and you can make money off of renting out those contracts, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think the reason why you're seeing that phrasing on the website now is, Disney's they're putting that statement out there because it gives them legal grounds to go after.
The chat agent said it to me. Yeah. It wasn't even I was seeing it on the website. The chat agent.
Literally,
yeah. But to your point,
I've seen it on the website too. So
yeah. But to your point, what DVC what DVC Rental Store does, you can do just yourself, right? Like Trevor could call me.
To anybody.
Yeah. So like DVC Rental Store is just making it a little bit more secure, broadening your horizon as far as like, people that will do it for you. But like if Trevor called me tomorrow and said, hey, do you want to rent your points out to me? I'll give you $20 a point. We could do that. That's not we just do that as private people. This is just a more formalized way to do it. So it is a different thing. And it's what they're doing is not, some people might quibble with it, but I think we should be able to. I don't want to get to a place where I can't use my points for friends and family. I literally, we bought DVC so we could share it with our friends and family, together. We could do things together. Like I'm doing at Vera. We're going on this with friends. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to do. And I would hate to get to a point with DVC where they say, well, no, every reservation has to be in your name, and like I don't think we're going to get to that point. It's just, it was interesting to me because I had not had that happen previously. And I know they've been trying to crack down on this. And I also know that they do, respect the idea of allowing, members to rent out their points. They also, though, don't want what you're talking about, which is these companies that are buying up thousands of points and then renting them out, because that has a lot of other impacts to inventory and availability.
Yeah,
and
it's a net negative for the experience of DVC.
Yeah, because, truthfully, it's protecting members by being restrictive about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but like you said, it's interesting that, they're using that phrasing on, within the chats and all that. It's like, and to your point is, I'm the same way. It's like, hey, I have had, conversations with friends and family, even like, I went with my brother last year, but it was like, we were planning together a trip, and it was like, I should be able to, like, even if I wasn't going, I should be able to say, hey, I want to, give my points to my brother. And, not that I would ever charge my brother for my points, but it's like, if I was having a conversation, was like, well, hey, you can give me some money because I'm giving you like, the hotel stay for free, basically. That's my business at the end of the day. Like from a personal standpoint, I understand, Disney is basically saying like, it's your business, how you use your points, but it's, companies trying to act as owners is that's the part they have issue with, and rightfully so, I think. Like, the other thing is they used to do these mergers right there with you on the chat, and they don't do that anymore. Now it's like a service request they put in, and they told me it could take 7 to 10 business days. I was like, what? Interesting.
I was like, they used to just do it right away. Now maybe that's just chat. Like maybe if I called, they would do it right over the phone with me. I bet they would. I mean, but I feel the chat, I think, I hate to say it, or I'm going to ruin the magic maybe a little bit here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was an AI agent you were dealing with and not an actual person. Yeah, I mean, it could have been.
Because that has been becoming a trend for a lot of like front end help desk stuff. Is even though like it acts like a person, but like if it's a simple enough request, like I'm sure an AI agent can handle it. And that's probably why they have it like, it'll take some time because it's actually the system just doing it in the background. It's not somebody sitting there doing it necessarily.
Well, I'm betting it's still a manual process because they got.
There's probably somebody checking it, but I wouldn't be surprised. And like I said, sorry, this is my anecdotal experience as, like I said, I'm in IT. So I kind of see the back end of some of this stuff is a lot of places are moving to try and, minimize like for obvious repeatable things, not having to have somebody sitting there like doing the work necessarily, right? Like,
this kind of thing can be complicated though, because it varies. I mean, it could vary. You could have like 5 different reservation numbers. It's a little.
That's true. Merging reservations is not always cut and dry. So that is fair too. And maybe that's part of the 7 to 10 days thing. Is maybe it's. Maybe it's being handed off to somebody to do, but it goes into a queue, and that's why they can't say like, we'll do it for you right away.
That's what they said. Yeah. You know, they're handled, you know, first come first serve. It was just interesting to me because I hadn't run into that before. They used to just do it right there, and you know, I don't know how new this is. This could have been like last year or the year before, and I just am not noticing until now.
I would be curious, and this is this is obviously speculation, and you know, we're just observing things as users of the system. I would be curious if, you know, if you have to do this again in the future, or if either of us have to, if there would be a difference between making the phone call versus using the chat agent.
Test it out.
Yeah. This is all in the lens of just understanding the system. I'm not trying to call Disney out for anything. I'm not trying to, you know, say they're doing one thing or another. I'm making assumptions myself, and you know, I'll say that up front, as I'm not saying I'm an expert on these things, but I'm just basing it on my own experience that I've seen in dealing with different companies over time here. I would be curious how things would go if you did it over the phone.
Yeah.
So
yeah, someone tell us.
Tom, how about you do this? How about you go back and you split your reservations and then call? Yeah, let's do that.
I don't know if anyone else does this, and maybe it's just me, but like whenever I first book the reservation, I only ever put my name into it, right? Because I'm like just when I first do it, right? Like, and then once it's confirmed, then I go back and edit it and then add all the other names in. I think it's just because like I'm paranoid that if it takes me too long to type everything in, like I feel less rushed if I go back and do it because now it's already booked. I have it reserved. I'm not scared that it's like going to disappear on me or something. I don't know. I've been doing that for a while, and it just I like right now the only person whose name is on there is me. There's nobody else on there, and there's 6 other people that are going to be with us. So yeah, I don't know.
I think so. I put in all of my family's info, but I think the difference is that mine are, I'm usually only booking for 3 people. So,
I am too.
It's like all that stuff is pre-populated in my DVC stuff. So for me, but I get what you're saying is like, yeah, you know, if you've got like a larger reservation, I see where you would just want to get it booked and then you go back and figure out the details later. Because, especially if you got like, people outside of your household and everything. But
I also didn't want to spend all the time doing it if we were just going to, because if we didn't get the first day, or the first night there,
then it's a moot point.
I might have canceled the whole thing, So now we just have to figure out, because you get off the ship real early in the morning, and then you can't check in until later in the afternoon. So we got to, and there's only like an hour between the two places. So it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do in between?
I'm sure one, you can drop off your luggage there, and 2, I'm pretty sure you can find somewhere to just go and either just hang out for a while, or I know I saw in the Discord, I'm pretty sure it was Dan that.
Dan gave me like a ton of information.
Yeah, he gave some tips on places to explore. So that's that I'm doing it again. You're gonna blame me for why this works or doesn't work, because I'm telling you should go off and like explore things, and you're going to be like, Trevor, it's your fault that I missed dinner.
No, I'm not blaming you for anything else. I only blame you for the initial. Okay.
I'm making suggestions. I'm not telling Tom to do anything, just so we're clear.
Just so we're good. Listen, even me blaming you, I'm blaming you in a good way, because I'm happy that I'm doing this. This is great.
I know. So, this is just a funny bit that we're doing now.
It is. I'm fine with it. Yeah. Okay. As long as you're cool with it. So there's that going on. Well, I was looking at doing Kennedy Space Center because I've always wanted to do that. And I don't know how familiar you are with that, Trevor, but it's like, space, it's, rockets and
I know about it. I've not been there myself, but
I always wanted to go.
Yeah, it seems like an interesting time for sure.
Well, and it's 20 minutes from the port. I mean, because they launch the rockets off like right there, like it's Port Canaveral. It's where they launch rockets off. So like you can. I mean, the one time when my wife and I went on a cruise that wasn't a Disney cruise, and we were on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and we were at Port Canaveral, we saw them rolling the rocket out to the launch pad, like, because it literally goes right by the ships. They go right on the same road, like there's like a little side road there that they do it, so you can see that. And I and you can watch launches and stuff from there too. But I've just always wanted to go to the Space Center because it just looked really cool. They got a lot of cool stuff there. I want to go check out some rockets. I think it would be entertaining, but it is a little pricey. And here's what, Trevor, this is always the challenge I have with going on vacation with other people, because I know what I'm willing to spend on things. You know, like I know I have no problem paying for the tickets to go do this, but we're with other people and I don't want to assume that they're willing to pay for it. You know what I mean? And I don't also want to like make it feel like they have to, you know, because their money's their money and I don't want to like pressure anybody. This is a challenge I always, and I know it's like,
yeah,
partially in my head, and I like, but I always like feel guilty too, because I'm just like, oh, hey, I'm suggesting this, you know, fairly expensive thing. And it feels like I'm pressuring them to do it. It's just like, I don't know, but yeah. So,
okay. I'll relate my own experience with this, because I went through this with my brother last year, because, you know, we don't travel together normally. And so I was very much in the same boat as you, where I was like, you know, hey, I have a list of things that I want to do. And I know what I like to do at Disney, but he had zero context. And even things like, you know, we booked an after hours party, and he was like his initial reaction was like, okay, like he didn't understand why, but you know, he got it once we were there, he got it. But, you know, it was that, you know, upfront of like, hey, this is going to cost X amount of dollars. Right. And so I guess the way that I handled it was again, this is me maybe over planning a little bit, but I literally like did cost breakdown of like, you know, hey, here's the cost of all these tickets. If we do all this is going to run us X amount of dollars. Yes or no. And basically I put it to him and I said, you know, this is all the information I have. I am down to do these things. If you want to discuss changing plans or whatever, you know, let's talk about it. But if you agree with what we're doing, I'm going to pull the trigger. And so you know, he had the information and, you know, if he disagreed with it, it's like, well, but you agreed that we were going to do this. So like, I mean, that's how I guess I would approach it with like another family, is like, just, you know, put out like, hey, I want to do these things. This is how much it'll cost. If you're in, you know, I'll bring you in. If not, it's like, you know, the other side of it too is like, hey, if they don't want to go, you know, you guys figure out whatever you're doing for the rest of the day. I'm going to Kennedy Space Center. Like,
that's kind of what we might, you know, end up doing, because and you kind of have to do that. I think we talked about this before. When you go on vacation with other people, it's you kind of have to be okay with doing your own thing sometimes. Otherwise, it's going to create friction. And I'm okay with it. I just always feel like, even when you and I went to dinner, when we both were down there at the same time, I you know, kind of just was like, we already had the Liberty Tree reservations, and then I just was able to add you and your brother. I also was thinking to myself, was like, I hope they don't feel like they have to go, because it's not exactly a cheap dinner, because it's a, you know, all you can eat place. And I was like, oh man, I feel like I you know,
we were already on. You know? Okay, yeah, and yeah, I get that. I know that happened last minute, but you know, we didn't have a plan for dinner anyway. Like we were just like going to hit up quick services that
now
day.
You're a fan of Liberty Tree.
Yeah, and the fact that you invited us, we like you know, we talked about it for like half a second. It's like, you know, hey, we're going to go do a sit down. Yeah, cool. But I think that's also because, you know, we were of the same mindset that, you know, we're on vacation. I am not here to limit my spending. Like we both knew up front that, you know, we were going to throw money at things that on a normal day I would not do. And so, yeah, I think that's part of it is, you know, if you have that pre-understanding up front that it's like, you know, this is a vacation, we're going to spend money on a vacation, I think that makes those conversations easier too with the other party, right? So
yeah. It's always a tough thing to me, and you know, and also just like, you know, we talked about this before too. The other, you know, the point of contention that sometimes come up, especially on a place like Disney, where there is so many additional add-ons you can do, right? Yeah. It's like, you know, and especially since, you know, we're going with my daughter's one of her closest friends, it's hard, because it's like, okay, well, what if I want to do, you know, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique with her, and I don't want to expect them to have to pay for it, but then that's gonna, you know, cause a little issue, you know. And it's like,
and their daughter will go, but she's going, but why can't we go?
See what I'm saying? Yeah, like. Yeah. So I feel like we just will discuss those things with them ahead of time, and just make, you know, see what they think, and you know, come to, like, because I don't want to cause a problem. Obviously, I don't want to and it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And it is what it is. But
I will say this too is, I know you're worried about like upsetting other people, but
I worry about all these things, Trevor, all the time.
I know, but sorry, I'm also going to put it out there that other people are responsible for themselves.
I know,
right? Like even from the lens of saying I want to take my daughter to Baby Boy Boutique. If her friend is upset about it, that's honestly between her and her parents.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and it's not your fault that one thing happens or another thing happens. And I get what you're saying. I get you don't want to cause.
I feel guilt.
But I'm also going to remind that it is you are as much there on your vacation as they're on their vacation, and you have a right to choose how you spend your vacation.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I get where you're at with it. I get because you're like kind of the focal point of planning and all that you feel like you have an obligation. But
I do.
But I think that's also where, like I said, going back to my experience with my brother, it was, easier because it was just me and my brother, but there was definitely a dynamic there of, he didn't know, like I said, he didn't know what was up. He was very much leaning on me. And so I felt an obligation of trying to make sure that he got the most out of his experience. But he eventually turned to me and was like, look, Trev, I'm just going with the flow here. Like, whatever you tell me is good. I trust you.
Yeah.
Like he basically had to say, like, I trust your judgment on this. Stop feeling like you have to, question it. Right. So.
And the nice thing about doing the cruise is that this is actually still, even though I did one already, still a bit of a blind spot to me, right? Like I am not an expert on this side of the thing. So it's almost, I kind of can I'm not the responsible one here, right? Because I know a little. Do I know a lot? No. And I mean, this is not like the parks. The parks are a whole different thing. I can tell you anything you want to know about that. But the cruises, I don't know. I'm still learning myself on these. So, But anyway, there was not a lot of news this week, Trevor. Not a ton. I just put a couple things in that I thought were interesting. And the number one thing that I thought was interesting, and usually, when we do food time, we usually get to talk about like the sippers or the popcorn buckets. But this one we didn't get to talk about when we did food time.
Because they just announced this like
a couple days ago. Yeah. And we got an Orange Bird sipper, and it's the Orange Bird.
There's a whole history of the Orange Bird. And actually, if you want to know more about it, and sorry, I'm just going to plug this here. Dapper Danielle, Orange Bird is her favorite character. And she's actually, I've watched some of her content, and she's actually done some deep dives into where Orange Bird came from. And it was a whole thing of, corporate sponsorships and all that. So if you want to learn more about Orange Bird, she does have info on that.
And technically, okay, so I mean, this is kind of a weird thing, but technically it is a Disney character.
It is now.
He was a Disney character to be the mascot for the Florida Citrus Commission. So Disney created it, but it was for the Florida Citrus Commission. And that was in exchange for them sponsoring the Tiki Room and the Sunshine Tree Terrace. So it's not like it's a Disney character in the parks,
it's a sponsored Disney character is what it is.
Exactly. It's a sponsored Disney. That's a good way to think about it. Yeah. It's one, but it's a Disney character, but not a Disney character.
but now, so let's talk about the fact that it's a sipper, I guess.
Okay.
I'm looking at this, and I mean, all the pictures I'm seeing of it, I don't see any point where it actually has a drink in it.
Has a beverage in it?
Yeah, they're showing it with like the cup of what did they say it is? It's an orange
lemon smoothie. Yeah,
an orange lemon smoothie next to it. I don't even see where the straw goes into this thing. Like they're not showing that.
I assume it's behind the leaf on the top of his head, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and to be fair, like this, we're not looking at, or the link you sent isn't through an official Disney site. But I mean, my thing with sippers, like I do have a couple of sippers in this house that we've acquired along the way. I like sippers a lot less than I like popcorn buckets. And I feel like I'm drawing a line in the sand there.
No, I agree with you.
But like sippers are just...
I'll tell you what the problem with sippers are, Trevor. And I think I've talked about this before. And this is a general rule for me. anything I'm eating out of, or I'm sorry, anything I'm drinking out of, I want to wash that first.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That's it for me, is that I can't easily wash a sipper.
And the plastic ones come from the factory with like a little bit of like a weird chemically coverage still on them. And if you just pour a drink right into that, it tastes like that chemically thing. And that's like, if you poured a drink into this and then drank directly from it, all you would taste is plastic. Like that's what you would taste, and if you clean it, it'd be fine. But I don't know. That's what my issue really is. So if I were to get this, which, it's cool. I like Orangebird, and I like this iteration of it. There's a lot of Orangebird merch floating around the Flower and Garden Festival too, along with some Spike merch as well. I enjoy Spike as well, but there's a lot of Orangebird stuff going on. I don't know. I just wouldn't put the drink in it. I would get it as a souvenir and not a functional cup.
Yeah. And to that end, like even, or I guess like, you're right. It's still fine as like a souvenir and like as a little bit of a display piece. If you're a fan of Orangebird, totally makes sense. Like you said, my problem with it is the same as yours, is that like with a popcorn bucket, it's like you get like popcorn buckets come in weird shapes too. And like they can be a pain to clean out, but it's like you're cleaning out popcorn. Whereas a sipper is like, my thing with sippers is I like the resort mugs, because when I get home, I can take a resort mug and I can wash it properly and I can use it. And I can be like, I'm using my resort mug. Sometimes I drink out of my resort mugs. I have a bunch of them at home now at this point. Just, if I'm feeling like I need a little bit of Disney, on a regular day, and then I can throw them in the dishwasher. The problem with a sipper is that,
can't really do that.
I'm putting my drink in this, and then I don't know that I'll ever get this thing clean, which means that, like I said, it kind of relegates itself to, it's always just going to be a display piece and not something usable. And even as far as popcorn buckets go, we have a popcorn bucket that we actually use as a pen holder, because why not, right?
Why
like
not?
it's I don't know. Like I like the way it looks, but I wish that they would rethink how they do sippers.
Yeah.
Right. Like what actually would be really cool is if like the outer shell of the sipper was like, these elaborate things, but then if they had something inside where there's like a removable cup or something that the actual liquid gets stored in, that you can take it out and wash it, right? Like
put like a plastic bag in there or something. Like you wouldn't. I mean, serious. Yeah. You have like a little. Yeah.
Do you know about milk in a bag?
Yes, I do know about milk in a bag.
Okay,
although I thought that was mostly like in only certain areas in Canada.
It is actually. It's mainly in Ontario, and I think Quebec still does it. But it's not a thing where I live. But we're very aware of milk in a bag.
That's what I was imagining. That's what
this is the same thing. It's just like your bag of smoothie in your.
You just put a bag inside there, and then the nice thing about the bag is when you pour the liquid into it, it'll just conform to whatever the shape of the sipper is.
That's
true. And then I'm okay with drinking from it, because now I'm not drinking from, from this weird plastic thing. I'm drinking from instead a plastic bag that is probably food safe, I would hope, and doesn't taste like plastic.
Yeah,
I've solved
like I said, but then it becomes the issue of like I wouldn't want to say. I feel like a cup would be better than a bag, because you can wash the cup, whereas bags, like, they're more disposable.
Yeah, make it a reusable bag. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, obviously it would be, but it like
I didn't really think this idea through, Trevor.
Yeah, I know. It got out of hand real quick.
Yeah, but no, I listen. I think it works. I think I'm brilliant.
Some food for thought with sippers, but yeah, let's move on to, I think we got like one or two more things on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I put the Disney Adventure stuff on here, which is a lot. So, and I don't want to talk.
Okay.
So, and we've talked for a while today. So, maybe we can just talk about a couple things about that. But the other thing I wanted to put on here, and just because we talked about it fairly recently, was, Buzz Lightyear still closed. Space Ranger Spin over Magic Kingdom still closed. But they did just put up a new sign, replacing the old sign. Which, and when I say sign, I mean what held like the wait time thing, and it was like that cartoony Space Command thing, and very like I don't know, what would you call it, like an industrial kind of feel to it, right? Like
it was very 90s
90s futuristic,
90s Tomorrowland looking. It felt like the old sign felt like a remnant of when they were using or actually I guess it's closer to what they did in Disneyland, which people called them, I think they called them the space French fries, because there was these, like, it was supposed to be like stone or like look like rock formations you would see on like Mars or something, but they painted them like a copper color and they kind of looked like French fries for a bit. And then, but this is like the old one was in that same vein. It was like an older structure. This new structure, or the new wait time sign, looks actually like something you would see. It looks closer to like Space Mountain, actually.
Yeah, it actually looks more like current Tomorrowland, but also this article mentions too that it's very much in the vein of the sign that for the previous attraction, which is If You Had Wings.
Oh, I never actually saw that. So
yeah, okay. And they have a picture here of the If You Had Wings, and it's kind of a very similar style, and it's almost like I see that now. So it's like, it's weird because it's like a throwback, but it also somehow is fitting like more of the Space Mountain, like almost more of the current Tomorrowland theming. I like it. I think it's cool. It gets away from like the toy cartoony kind of sign, but this is not the only sign, right? Like the whole front of the attraction is still being worked on. Like it's all just paint right now. This is the sign that sits in front of where the doors are, that just has the standby time and the lightning lane time. So it's one of the signs, but it's not the only sign. So but I like this, and it also kind of looks like it's going to light up cool at night, which is pretty neat too.
Yeah, and actually, I realize what it is now, that the old sign, it reminded me of the 90s cartoon.
Yeah,
is what it is. So like it had that cartoon aesthetic to it, and this is more, like you said, it's bringing it back to like, it's blending in with Tomorrowland, which is not a bad thing. Like because I think maybe this is part of a larger thing that they're trying to do with Tomorrowland. Is Tomorrowland did feel a little bbit disjointed for a while.
I mean, Buzz Lightyear never felt like it fit in there because of the cartoony vibe of it. Yeah,
but I mean, like that whole corridor, if you think about like because there used to be like Stitch and then Monsters Inc. and Buzz Lightyear. It was all like very, very cartoony, right?
Yeah, it was.
But I think they're trying to get it back to like the Tomorrowland aesthetic, which is more futuristic, minimalistic, I guess. Some people I get may not like that, but I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing, because like that is supposed to be the vibe of Tomorrowland, is like, kind of like what EPCOT was proposed to be, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from it. So
yeah, absolutely. Which I like a lot. I really do. It's very cool.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what the rest of the signage looks like.
Yeah, seriously. I know we're talking about signs and getting excited about signs, but theming is like important. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. Like don't sleep on theming. Like theming is a big reason why we go to Disney. So
exactly.
So I'm more than happy to talk about it.
Yeah, and I mean, the last thing I had on here was just about the Disney Adventure, a cruise ship that none of us will go on because it's in Singapore.
Yeah, and it doesn't even like actually travel anywhere; it just goes out to sea and comes back,
which I love. Yeah. That's an ideal cruise to me, man.
Yeah,
that's totally fine with me. But listen, this cruise ship looks incredible, and
oh my goodness, yes.
I think we talked about this. I don't know, a couple episodes ago, where Disney bought this ship for nothing, because this was pretty much a fully built cruise ship that the company that was building it went bankrupt. So Disney came in and bought it for pennies, essentially, but then spent like $2 billion to like redo the whole thing. And you can see the money in it. Like if you just look at the pictures, it is gorgeous. I mean,
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like the amount of variation in the areas in this ship is insane. Like just looking at like that courtyard, with the
open
trees,
courtyard in the middle.
Yeah, the open courtyard, and then the San Francisco street is like
very cool. Yeah.
I would just go stand there and just like vibe with that. Like, it's so cool. I love it.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, it's Big Hero 6, which if you haven't seen Big Hero 6, what are you doing? Go see that movie. It's great.
Right. I love Big Hero 6.
Yeah,
Such
that's a fantastic movie. But like, so they have like this whole like street area that's got it's like a market and shopping experiences. They have a 4-screen movie theater, which is crazy. It's just like it's just, which is just nuts. I mean, also, they've got rides on this one now. This is a fairly common thing nowadays in the cruise ship industry to have like these roller coasters on the outside of the outer edges of their ships. A lot of the newer ships have this, but this is a first for Disney, and they also built the longest one in existence. But they also just threw a flat ride on one of on the top deck, which is crazy that they did that. And it also looks like some sort of go-kart kind of thing.
There's go-kart racing as well, or I guess like a go-kart track. Yeah. So there's that too. And
so these are all first for Disney because they don't like have rides on their ships. That's just not a thing that they do. And so that's a new thing that they're doing. And listen, that would work in the States. But listen, this ship looks incredible. I hope someday it somehow makes its way to the States. It doesn't feel like it will. It feels like they've created this very specifically for the Asian market, and it's just going to stay there. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if they really wanted to bring it over here, they could, like, if it just is not doing well. But if you've seen any of the other Disney ships, it looks very different. It's much bigger. It's by far the biggest ship that they've ever had. And the theming in it, you can see that where they spent this money. It just looks incredible.
And, Tom, maybe that's a conversation with Ellie, because, she said to us about, potential vacation opportunities. Maybe you need to say, how can I rent my points to get on the ship?
I don't want to fly all the way to Singapore. That feels really far away.
It is. But, I mean, it would be an adventure, right? Yeah. On the Disney adventure.
I know. I got to check in with Brian and see if he's still going on it. Because remember, Brian told us that he was going to be doing the first sailing, but then they pushed it back a couple months. They actually delayed it. So I don't know if he still is.
I'm fairly confident he's gonna go on it regardless.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he didn't.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't see him. I don't see a world where he's not doing it. But
oh wow, did you watch the video that they put out too? Because the video is even cooler than just the pictures. The video is awesome.
I did not watch the video. I kind of stopped at San Francisco Street. To be honest.
That's fair. They show you video of San Francisco Street though, so you can see.
Okay, now I need to go find where is the video. I
called them go-karts before, and they're not really go-karts. They're just kind of like little I don't know, those big wheel kind of things that kids will drive around sometimes.
Yeah.
Which it's fine. Again, kind of cool, but not a thrill ride necessarily. But yeah, you can see the San Francisco. Yeah.
I'll have to watch this video in a minute because of the volume. It's an Instagram video, and the volume is cranked up, so I can't actually watch it right now.
You just gotta hit mute.
I can't see the mute button for some reason.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know. Let's wrap it up. I mean, I don't think we need to talk too far about this, but I mean, man, the comments on this is pretty crazy on this video. The most beautiful ship I've ever seen. Good Lord, this is beautiful, incredible. Yeah, I mean, it is. You can see the money they spent on it for sure, and I'm a little jealous of the Asian market for getting access. Not that the other ships aren't beautiful; they are, but this is they definitely went to another level entirely here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway. All right, let's wrap it up, Trevor.
All right. So, we talked about a lot today. So, if you guys have questions about anything we talked about, or anything like that, you can always find us at our email address, which is welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys and hearing what you think about the show and hearing you share your experiences and all that. So, please reach out to us. You can also find us on social media. So you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. And you can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Again, all great places to get in contact with us. And we also have a Facebook group called Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where we talk about stuff from the show and just, general Disney stuff. And like I said, it's all about just everyone sharing their experiences with Disney and DVC and all that, because, you know, we all have our own takes on this, and that's kind of the point. So,
that's kind of the point.
I mean, it is really at the end of the day. That's why we talk about it, is because, you know, we all are seeing this from different angles, and it helps us better understand it when we can, you know, see it from all the angles. So, so, you know, you can find us on social media. And then also, if you want to help support the show, we have a store, and it's, you know, we got some cool merch in there. So you can check out our merch at store.welcomehomepodcast.co. We got a good range of stuff now. I think I'm pretty happy with the new store. And I'm also excited that, you know, if there's something that you guys want to see in the store that, you know, maybe if there's a particular type of merch that you're curious about, again, you know, reach out to us. We can, we have the ability to add stuff to the store. So,
tell us what you want. We'll make it.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, let us know on that. And like I said, and also if you do get some merch, you know, we'd love to see the end product of it as well, because, you know, send us a pic. Like, you know, if you're wearing shirts in the park and everything, I do love seeing that, because it's still, like we said earlier in the show, you know, it still blows our mind that, you know, people are excited about the podcast and everything. And, you know, hey, show us, if you want to make me happy, show us the merch in the park, because I love seeing that. And also in the same vein, you know, for supporting the show, we do have a Patreon. So you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our different levels of Patreon support, which have an exclusive logo that you can only get on Patreon. And all of our Patreon supporters get access to the Discord server, which is yet another place that we talk about stuff from the show. And like I said, lots of great discussions, people sharing their own experiences, things like, you know, Tom asking about Vero Beach, and people chiming in with recommendations. You know, all that kind of stuff happens there, and just, you know, fun Disney centric conversations. So make sure you check that out if you're interested in getting in on the conversation. And, you know, like I said, how I like seeing pics of merch in the park. Tom likes 5-star reviews. So
I do.
If you're, you know, listening on iTunes or Spotify or anywhere you can leave a rating, you know, leave us a 5-star on the show. Just let us know that you like the show. And if it's on iTunes, you can also write us a review and let us know what you think about the show, because, you know, we love hearing what you guys think about what we're doing too.
Yeah, and the other thing is, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast apps that's out there. You can find us. Huge thank you to our continual sponsor, Keyholder Vacations, and also, again, a big shout out to Dani and Ellie for coming on the show today and talking about some DVC and some swap and all that fun stuff. That was a great time today. So
yeah, for sure.
Thanks to them for joining. I learned a lot. I know I learned quite a bit. So so thank you guys. Really appreciate that. But join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
To a house when we had a chair, how she can cuddle is no man's affair. I look around for all the clothes, found her in her sugar bowl.